Today we will talk about the three different rituals of Hajj. Is divided into three types for each pilgrim to choose from. The highest being tamattu', and the pilgrim is called mutamatti'. The second is qiran, and the pilgrim is called as qarin. And the last one is ifrad, and the pilgrim is called mufrid. So this is a bit confusing for those who do not understand it, and for those who may not have performed Hajj before, but I'll try my level best to explain it all to you. The main difference between tamattu' and the other two rituals, which are the ifrad and the qiran, is that tamattu' has a separate umrah performed during the months of Hajj than the Hajj itself. And how is that done? You remember that the 3 months of Hajj are Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah. Majority of the tasks performed during the month of are performed during the month of the Hijjah, specifically in the 4 or 5 days, beginning of the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and if you want, you can stay an extra day on the 13th. This is optional. So the vast majority of tasks performed by days. But the mutamatti' has an extra deed that he offers, which is a separate umrah done from day 1 of Shawwal, depending on when he comes. So one asks, then why does he perform umrah? A mutamatti' enjoys coming in earlier than others. And we all know that you're not entitled, which is a designated area for a person intending Umrah or Hajj, to wear the ihram in. So it is not permissible to pass without assuming the state of ihram. So imagine if you are a qarin or a mufrid and you come intending to do Hajj on the first Ramadan. So you pass by the miqat, you assume the state of ihram, and you go to Mecca. However, you are prohibited from doing any of the things prohibited in the state of ihram until the day of Eid, which is the month of Shawwal, the month of Dhul Qa'dah, and 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. 70 days you cannot trim your mustache, you cannot remove the hair of your own hair, clip your nails, wear perfume, have intimacy with the missus, wear normal clothes. 70 days. That's a lot. This is why the vast majority of Muslims who come to perform Hajj, they do not come when they come early intending to do qiran or ifrad, because they're going to wait for so long time without being able to live and assume their normal lives. He performs tawaf and umrah, tawaf and sa'i for his umrah. So both tawaf and sa'i are pillars because he's performing a separate umrah, like any other umrah. assumes ihram, performs tawaf, performs sa'i, and then cuts short his hair. Now he has exited the state of ihram for completing the umrah. So he's entitled to wear his normal clothes, have intimacy with the missus, wear perfume, and he stays living like a normal human being until the 8th of the Hijjah. So all this period, he's enjoying sitting in Mecca or the adjacent cities, going to Medina maybe, without any problem. And on the 8th of the Hijjah, he assumes ihram for his Hajj. And this is done wherever he is, not from the miqat, because he has already entered the miqat umrah. He was wearing his ihram from the miqat. Now he's still within the miqat area. He doesn't need to wear ihram again from the miqat. If he's in Mecca, he's in Mecca. If he's in Jeddah, he wears it from Jeddah. It doesn't matter. Why do we call him mutamatti'? Because tamattu' is to enjoy. And this person, as he had performed his umrah, and now he is capable of wearing normal clothes and living a normal life without restricting anything which was restricted due to his ihram, he's enjoying it. That's why he's called mutamatti'. On the 8th of the Hijjah, he assumes ihram to become a muhrim, and he performs his Hajj. And we will take it onwards from there and describe the differences between the Hajj of all three rituals. So, what separates a mutamatti' from all the other rituals? Hajj, which are Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and Dhul Hijjah. Now, let us look at Qiran and Ifrad. What's the difference between them? Qiran and Ifrad are identical in every step of the way. There is no difference, none whatsoever between them, except in two things. The first thing is the intention. By the way, Qiran means to combine in Arabic. So, qarana, something with something else. And most likely this is due because the horns of an animal, it's called qarn, and the plural is qurun, because they are together. And we call the marriage contract as aqdul qiran, because a man is joining or combining with a woman in marriage. So qarin, the man, the pilgrim, is called qarin because he's combining between two things. What are they? It is umrah and hajj. Oh, interesting. So he's like the mutamatti'. No, he's not like the mutamatti'. But I thought you said that the mutamatti' performs a separate umrah. Then on the 8th of the Hijjah, he assumes ihram and performs hajj like everybody else. Yes, this is exactly what I said. And now you're telling me that qarin or qiran is to combine umrah and hajj. So they're the same. No, they're not the same. And I'll explain to you why. He is called qarin because though he performs hajj rituals, as umrah is embedded with his hajj, though there is no separate umrah in it. So this is a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal, that a person who performs qiran is given the gift of one umrah and one hajj, though he did not make a separate Umrah at all. Question. Then why our brother Mutamatti' did not do the same? Our brother Mutamatti' had a longer period to stay, so he wanted more. That's more rewardable than combining it with the Hajj itself. Interesting. What did the Prophet do, alayhi salatu wasalam? Which type of Hajj did he perform? The Prophet performed Qiran. So he did not perform a separate Umrah, rather he intended that his Hajj would include in it a Umrah. Okay, interesting. So you said earlier that there are two differences between intending to have an embedded Umrah within the Qiran Hajj. What is the second intention? What the second difference? The second difference is due to this gift of embedded Umrah in a Hajj, and you get two for the price of one. You as a Qarin are obliged to slaughter a sheep as a form of sacrifice and expressing your gratitude to Allah, distributing the whole meat to the poor around the Haram area in Mecca. So that the Mufrid, the one who's performing Ifrad, is identical to the actions of the one who is performing Qiran, but the one doing Ifrad does not slaughter. Correct. And he is not rewarded for a Umrah. Correct. That's it. Interesting. So, I understand now that Tamattu' is performing a separate Umrah, cutting your hair short, wearing your normal clothes of Ihram on the 8th of the Hijjah. You do your rituals and you're done. So, are the three rituals identical on the 8th of the Hijjah onwards? Answer is no, they're not. Though they're similar, very much similar, but there is a slight difference that you have to pay attention to. Now, the Mutamatti' has done a tawaf and a sa'i separate for his Umrah, correct? Yes, correct. How did you know that it was a Umrah? Because he cut his hair afterwards. Good answer. Let's move to the 8th of the Hijjah, when everybody goes to Mina. Now, is there any difference? The answer is yes. Mutamatti' must not perform tawaf, must not perform sa'i when he goes to Mina or to Mecca on the Hijjah. He's obliged to perform tawaf al-Hajj and sa'i al-Hajj, and these are pillars. Got that? Understood. However, the person performing Qiran or Ifrad has the right to go directly to Mina, like the Mutamatti', and perform exactly everything he does every step of the way. To Arafah, Muzdalifah, Mina, and then does the Tawaf al-Hajj and Sa'i al-Hajj. Clear? All three are identical. Now, the difference is that the one performing Qiran and the one performing Ifrad have an option that Mutamatti' does not have. Interesting. So the Mutamatti' had an option the other two did not have, which was after he assumed Ihram, he cut short his hair and wore his normal clothes and sat in Mecca for a week, for a month, for two, depending when he came So this was an advantage for him. The person doing qiran or ifrad are unable to do that. They cannot take their ihram except on the day of Eid. So now you're telling me that the person performing qiran and ifrad, they both have an option that the mutamatti' cannot have. True. What is that option? The option is following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which can only be performed by someone doing ifrad and qiran. And what is that? It is to come on the 8th or the 7th, up to you, of course you are in the state of ihram because you are performing qiran or ifrad. You make 7 rounds around the Kaaba. You mean tawaf? The answer is yes. And this tawaf is voluntary. It is like Tahiyyatul Masjid. It is known as Tawaful Qudum. Okay, so I perform 7 rounds while I'm in the state of ihram. Then what? Then you go to sa'i and you perform 7 rounds of sa'i, but this sa'i is not voluntary. This is a pillar of Hajj, which in normal cases it would have been performed on the day of Eid with the tawaf of Hajj, as both tawaf al-Hajj or ifrad, that if you go to Mecca and you perform 7 rounds as voluntary tawaf, you have the option to perform 7 runs between Safa and Marwa for your sa'i. So that on the day of Eid, you don't have to perform sa'i again. While our brother mutamatti', he's obliged to perform both tawaf and sa'i of al-Hajj on the day of Eid. Okay, now I understand, Sheikh. It's pretty easy. So the difference between Qarin and Mufrid is that on the 8th or the 7th of the Hijjah, they both go to Mecca and they perform Umrah and then they go and continue. No. Wait. I said they perform Tawaf al-Qudum and they precede, they bring forward Sa'i al-Hajj. Okay, this is Umrah, Tawaf and Sa'i. No, it's not Umrah. What do you mean it's not Umrah? You just said they perform Tawaf and Sa'i. This is Umrah. No, Akhi. Umrah is when you cut short your hair and wear your normal clothes afterwards. The Qarin and the Mufrid do not do that on the 8th day of the Hijjah. Rather, they stay in their ihram and go directly back to the camps in Mina. Okay, so the mutamatti', when he came a couple of months ago after Ramadan in Shawwal and he performed Tawaf and Sa'i, that was a Umrah because he cut short his hair or shaved his hair and wore his normal clothes. Bingo, that's correct. But the Qarin and the Mufrid on the 7th or the 8th day of the Hijjah, when they performed Tawaf, this was not a pillar because it's not a Umrah. This was voluntary. And the Hajj and the Sa'i after that is a pillar of the whole Hajj. Without it, the whole Hajj is invalid. And they did not cut their hair short because they were still in the state of Ihram. Correct. Interesting. So these are the main differences between Tamattu' and Qiran and Ifrad. A bit confusing, but if you master it, you will have no problem, none whatsoever, in understanding Hajj. So, Sheikh, what complies me? What forces me to perform any one of these 3 rituals? Nothing. Most people think of it in terms of financial obligation. So people who cannot come and stay in Mecca for a month or so say, I cannot go for tamattu. It is too expensive for me. So they opt for qiran or ifrad. And those who opt for ifrad say that I cannot slaughter a sheep. So I'd rather just do with Hajj. I don't need a Umrah. And this is up to their choice. The one in the between, which is Qiran, says no, I can afford. I can afford a sacrifice and I'd like to be rewarded for a Umrah with minimal work, not like the Mutamattir. So I'm going to opt for this. And this is totally his decision to make, and there's no problem in that one, none whatsoever. So this is, in a nutshell, what Hajj is. Now we're going to follow the textbook and we're going to point these things. With this introduction I had given you, inshallah, things would make sense to you.